You're running a retail store. You probably want to sell across different channels. Here's the tricky thing about multi-channel inventory management. When the stock changes in one place, it needs to be manually updated in all the other channels. So many people choose to maintain one platform that then syncs with all of the other sources, and then you don't have to update things manually across all the different channels. But if you're going to choose one platform, what platform should you choose? So in this video, we're going to talk about how Airtable makes a really good source of truth for these multi-channel inventory management challenges. It's flexible, it's fast, you can start building for free, it scales with your business, and you can use it to connect with lots of different channels where you might be selling your stuff. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how you design your Airtable, how you build linked tables for inventory items and sales channels, and then we're going to look at connecting this Airtable to make Zapier and a whole host of other tools that you can use to run your business. Here we are in Airtable, and I'm just going to first of all create a new base, and I'm going to start from scratch. There's lots of AI features in Airtable, but right now we just want to start with the bare essentials. Now, this is your basic Airtable setup. I'm not going to dig into this right now because there's loads of videos online about how to get to know the essentials. I will just change the name, so I'm going to change it to... Before we start building in Airtable, the best way of designing any database like this is through something called an entity relationship diagram, or an ERD. It's really just a simple way of visualizing the system that you're creating and seeing how everything sticks together. I've already put together an entity relationship diagram for this inventory, and I'm just going to bring it up here in Miro and talk you through it. So I'm using Miro here, which is a tool you can use for free. So what are we looking at here? Well, we're going to be dealing with two different tables in Airtable today. Okay, so the inventory items and channel inventory, and basically what it comes down to is the inventory items are the items that you sell in your store. So you've got things like item name, the category they belong to, the price, all those basic things that you want to store about the things in your store. And you've got a unique ID there. Make sure that every single item has a unique number that you can refer back to anytime. So maybe you have that already in your system, in which case you can use that to go. You're good to go. So this table, this is the second table, and this is the place where you really bring in that multi-channel aspect of the system. So basically, this is a table which contains it contains records for each item across each channel, so each instance of an item on a different channel. And so you can see in that table, so you've got the item details, which are connected into the original table here, but you've also got things like a specific price that you might have on the channel, the name of the channel itself, so that might be Amazon, eBay to Shopify, and then the quantity in stock in that channel, the reorder level, so the number of items which triggers when you might want to reorder there, and then just other things like stock health and last updated, the date and time where this instance of the item was last updated. And as you can see, really, really simple. I don't think there's anything too complex to go into here, but I just thought it was worth showing this diagram, something that you might want to do before you even think about getting into Airtable, as a place to visualize how your database is going to look, and then you can always refer back to that if you've got a few challenges in the future. So we're back in Airtable now. Let's start building our inventory on within Airtable. So, like I said before, each of these tables on the diagram are tables in Airtable. There's a direct correspondence. So I'm going to just go one by one and take each of these fields from the diagram and build them in Airtable. So first of all, item ID, and we have our table set up actually. So first of all, I want to rename the table to reflect the name of within the ERD. Okay, so inventory items, and then in Airtable you've got this little drop down that says what should each record be called, and you've got a choice of loads of different things you might want your items to be known as in the database. We're going to say item because it's an inventory that's full of items, so save that. Now, when you've got a blank table like this, you've got just some sample fields that you might want to use. However, they're not really relevant for us. So first thing I'm going to do is just delete these. We don't want, we don't want assignee status. This is sort of project management stuff. Right, so this field on the far left here, this is it's currently set to name, but this is something called the primary field in Airtable, and what that means is that this is the field in the database that is always used as the way to identify each record. So every single value in this primary field should be different, and that means you will always know that it refers to that specific line in the database. There's no other record that it could refer to, and typically what you use for this is an ID number, a unique identifier, as it's known as. So I'm going to rename the name of this to item ID, and we want to make it a text field, so that's perfect. And we can use any values here, but like I say, the important thing is that they should all be completely unique. And I'm going to do another field here. So the next one we want to look at is item. This will be the name of the item as it appears in the database. And again, it's going to be a text field, so that's perfect. Create that. Let's go category. I'm just going to build all of these out as we go. Category should be a single select. A single select means that it's a selection field, a drop-down menu, but you only want to select one of those things. Sorry, a correction. For a category, you want multiple select because the item may belong to multiple categories. So category, multiple select. So let's start filling this out with a few possible categories. Let's say cushions, candles, blankets. That's fine for now. And so you can see if you're entering something in here, you've got the choice of cushions, candles, blankets, and you can add to that as you go. Now, next one I'm going to look at is unit price. This is a currency field, and it's called unit price. Which currency we're going to use? Let's use US dollars. You can obviously use any currency you want, and there's lots of different options here for maybe the number of decimal places or other things you might want to customize. Just create that field, and if you enter something in here now, you can see that it's given the dollar value. So that's perfect. Next one is supplier. Let's make supplier a single select, and the idea there is that each individual item in the database will only ever be supplied by one supplier. Okay. Now, maybe in your situation you might have multiple suppliers supplying the same item, but for the sake of this, let's make it a single select. So supplier, and let's add a few values into that. Artisan craft house, crafty creations, and elegant interiors. And now if you go into one of these, you can see that those options are available. Next one I'm going to look at is image. So this will be an attachment file type, and we're going to call it image. And that just means you can add, like it says there, add images, documents, any other files. We're going to concentrate on images here because this is an image field. And then we're on SKU. That will be a single text. SKU. Description. So description would be a longer text, and that just allows us to put in a little bit more information if we want to. And there we go. That's our first table. Just going to check it against this, and we can see that all of the values are in there. Now let's create another table, and we just going to add our import, start from scratch. And this one is called channel inventory. Again, you've got these sample fields, so just going to delete these because they're not really very useful. And the primary key for this one is going to be our item instance ID. So looking at the diagram here, this item field should always connect into one of the inventory items. So what that means is that each item that we're referring to within our channel inventory table will be linked back to an inventory item, and that gives it a direct link to that data. So, okay, so going into, and for this one, we're going to link to another record, and we want to choose from inventory items, and this is a link to inventory items here, and I'm going to call this item, and it's asking about lookup field. So right now I'm not going to add lookup fields. I'm just going to skip that step. But you can see within item, it's not showing anything right now because we don't have the item set up. But if I go back to inventory items and I was to enter my first item, let's say, and I can add that as a cushion. And then if we look up items, you can see that the blue cushion is appearing there. So that connection is working well. Just going to keep that in, and it's using, so the value is brought in as the item ID, and that's just because it's the primary key here. You can change this, so that's, I guess, where the lookup comes in. If you wanted to have the item name, which you know what, it's going to be useful to have that. So let's add a lookup to the item name, and so we can see the configuration down here is things are already set up. We've got that connection to inventory items. So I'm going to just choose the item field, and once I create that, it's bringing in the item name from blue cushion. So that's perfect. And then the next field is unit price, and this is another currency. The purpose of that override field is so that if you have a specific price that only applies to that channel, then you can specify it in here. Otherwise, you can leave it blank if you like. And our channel, so this would be a single select, and this would be a choice of different platforms that you might be using for your store. So, for example, Amazon.com, Shopify, WooCommerce, eBay. Just a few examples of channels that you might be needing within your store. And then we can select those from here. We would only ever want to have one channel specified for each row in this database, even though we might have the same item being used across different channels. So we might have, for example, one blue cushion is being sold on Shopify, one blue cushion is being sold on eBay. Now, quantity in stock, that's another number. And these last two fields around stock health are generated automatically, so I'm going to make these formula fields. So the stock health percentage is generating a percentage that tells you how healthy your stock is based on the quantity that's in stock at the moment and the number that is required before you need to reorder. And I've put this together already. I'll just paste it in here and then I can quickly talk through it. I'm not going to get too deep into the maths of this, but I will go into detail about this stock health percentage in future episodes. I'm just going to now create another formula field, which is our stock health. So I'm bringing this in from a pre-made formula that I already have. And I will talk quickly about how this works, this stock health field. So what it's doing here is if the quantity is 0, then it's saying you're out of stock, there's no stock left, and you definitely need to reorder now. And then it will actually display that message in the field. If the quantity of stock is less than or equal to the reorder level, so if it's below that the set amount that you've put in place to be the reorder level, then it will display this low reorder now message. If it's getting low, if it's within 10% of that reorder level, you just want to have it display getting low, reorder now, reorder soon. So it's just a heads up message. And then otherwise you've got stock levels okay. So that's just saying, there's no need to worry here. So I'm going to go ahead and create that field. It's displaying out of stock because we don't have any quantity set up just yet. And that's all of the fields now in our channel inventory database. We might also want to add another lookup to, because I'm just thinking it might be handy to have the unit price displaying here, which would go alongside the override and maybe make it easier to manage that. So just to show how you would add another lookup, then you go down to lookups, and all of these fields are just right there for you if you need them. So I'm going to select unit price and create that field. And you can drag it across here if you want, and it can appear just alongside your override. So just to go back, and I can populate that field in here. So let's just say this is $13.99, and that's appearing nicely in our unit price here. So that's pretty much our channel inventory table all set up now. And let's just move on to the next stage. Now I've just jumped into a different version of the multi-channel inventory here in Airtable, and as you can see, I've populated this out with lots of different inventory items here. And we've got everything has a category attached and a supplier attached, and it's got unit prices and everything we need. And if we jump into channel inventory, you can see that some of these have been brought in as channel specific inventory items as well. So for example, we've got a cutting board that's on Etsy, we've got a bamboo utensil set on Shopify. This soy candle is both on Amazon and WooCommerce. Now, if you wanted to add another one on there, all you need to do is put in your instance number. This has made me remember something that I've skipped out of the tutorial, and that's it's generating an automatic instance number based on a hidden field here. So I'm going to just quickly show you how that works. Now, as you can see, there's one hidden field and it's called auto ID. Let's take a look at auto ID. It's using this auto number field type, and so that's just a specific type which automatically generates a unique incremental number for each record. So every time I'm adding a new record, it's creating a new number, and then I'm using a formula here. You'll see that this item instance is being generated by a formula, and it's just taking the auto ID field, the generated number, is adding a bunch of zeros on the left hand side and an INV. This is totally arbitrary. You can make this whatever you want it to be. I just wanted to generate an instance ID that seemed a bit more like a real item ID in a store. Okay, I mean that could be anything you want. So that just shows how that's being generated automatically, and we can pull in any item now from the inventory. But let's say we want another bamboo utensil set, and you can even search there as well. So bamboo utensil set is here. You've got your unit price in there. Do we want a price override? Maybe we want a bit cheaper on this particular channel, so we'll put it in at $12.99. We're already selling on Shopify, so let's put that on Squarespace, this one. And you can select your quantity in stock here. Let's say 3. Let's say the reorder level is 2, and then that's generating stock health of okay, it's all good. And the stock health percentage is +1, and essentially that just means the same thing, that your stock levels are totally okay. Once you have your channel inventory set up like this, you can do things like order by channel to show how many different items are in each channel. So that's just a sort of case of selecting sort first to last, and I'll quickly add in another item here because these are all actually different channels. But let's see, we want a picture frame in here. Not going to do price override, that's fine. But let's select Amazon for that one. Just any numbers are fine here. And then let's select let's say another Etsy item, and this one could be a ceramic spoon rest. Sounds good. Make that available on Etsy, and just put in a few values for that. As you can see now, you can see that the sort is applied, so it's sorted by one field. It's being sorted by this channel field, so you can see that all of your Amazon items are grouped together, your Etsy items are grouped together. So that's just a simple way of displaying the channel specific items in your inventory together in order. If you wanted to go a little bit further than that, you can also create filters per channel. So if you just go down to this grid here, this creates a new view on the left hand side, and let's call this Amazon items. Create a new view. By default it's showing everything, but if I just create a new filter, and the condition for this would be on the channel field, and we want it to be only Amazon. And as you can see now, that's only displaying Amazon items. If I go back to the grid view, back to everything, and you could just create another one there if you wanted to only have Etsy items on another view, for example. And again, you just have to, you start with a default view like this, and you just have to apply a custom filter. So I'm just making this Etsy. So you can imagine how you might have all your different channel items laid out here in different views, which could be very useful. So now you're really set up to kind of take the next steps beyond this inventory in Airtable, and you can start to use that to manage your inventory across various different channels where you might be selling your items. And the best way to do that is using tools like Make or Zapier. We'll be doing videos about these in the future, but essentially tools like Make and Zapier can really supercharge your Airtable. You can set up connections to all of the different sales channels, and from there you can automate various things across your inventory. If you're interested in following along with this tutorial and building your own Airtable as you go, you can actually download the ERD, the Entity Relationship Diagram, from a link in the description below. You can also download a template version of the Airtable that I created there as well. So that will help you to build your own, or maybe you even just want to use it as it is within your own inventory. So maybe if you've gotten value out of this video, you can hit the like button. And if you want to stay in touch with latest updates, hit subscribe as well. Thanks for now.